How's it going, welcome back to Great North. If you're into lawn care, or you're looking to make your lawn better, or you're a lawn care enthusiast like I am, you've found the right channel for you. So please hit that subscribe button, share with your friends and family, so we can help keep the channel growing and get more deals for you guys out there. So as you can see, I think spring has finally sprung. I've gotten in 3 mows actually now on the back and on the front. This is the results after the first application of fertilizer. Granular went down back here, as well as a liquid application in the front. But today we're just going to be going over some simple spring lawn tips. We're going to be talking about pre-emergence, corn gluten, a natural pre-emergent versus synthetic chemical pre-emergence. So without further ado, let's get straight into the tips, let's get straight into the video, and let's get going. Alrighty, so spring lawn tips. First of all, I'm going to walk around my lawn, show you a couple things you guys might be seeing in your own lawn in the spring and how you can address them. So the first thing that I mentioned before in a video a couple weeks ago is this vole damage. So voles are field mice. As you can see, there's the hole of where they're living underneath the deck, and in the winter time they'll come and they'll eat your lawn as a snack for them and their family. They tend to eat the foliage off of the plant. So as you can see, this area, I'll show some pictures of what it used to look like, was quite heavily damaged, but as I said, it would heal back up by itself, and that's pretty much it. It has healed back. It's slowly healing. As you can see, the crown of the plant was not dead, just all the leaf surface was eaten off. So once the fertilizer came on, this plant is slowly coming back, and this will fill back in no problem. So slowly coming, filling back in. That's that vole damage. Another thing that I get asked questions about all the time, and my lawn has a ton of it in the old back lawn here. This is what would be known as clumping fescue. It's an old shitty fescue from old seed mixes. This lawn was seeded when the house was built in the 90s, but this has been a lawn since the early 1800s here, so there's a lot of crap in here that has been around for years. So this clumping fescue mix, there isn't really much you can do to spray this out. There's no selective herbicide you can use to spray out clumping fescue. The only thing you can do to get rid of this is to dig it out and basically patch it in with sod. So that's a project I'm going to be slowly taking into effect over the next couple of years here. It's not really a weed, it's green, there's not really any problems with it, but a weed is just a flower that is in the wrong place, and this is in the wrong place. It's inconsistent with the rest of the lawn around. As you can see, I have ryegrass in around here, but I have this clumping fescue stuck right in here, and they do, you know, take a while to green up. As you can see, there's one up here, you know, they're spreading around here, one over here. I have quite a few on this hill over here. Nothing major, but they are a bit of an annoyance over time. Here's a really big one. So you would just dig this out, replace it with 2 pieces of sod, and that's the best way to adjust clumping fescue. Next thing we always talk about in the spring is a heavy thatch layer. So if you live in an area that had a rough winter, you might have a lot of thatch left over, like I do in some of the areas on my lawn, like over here. As you can see, there is quite a heavy thatch layer. What a thatch layer is it's that layer of decomposing organic material between the soil surface and the grass. So it lives down in there, and in areas that, you know, tend to get a lot of high traffic or a lot of snow damage, they tend to build up that thatch layer. A healthy thatch layer is good. It helps keep the moisture in the soil, helps protect the soil due to degradation from getting direct sunlight. However, too much thatch can hurt the turf and allow it to not get enough sunlight, not being able to spread, and it can cause some kind of disease to sit down near the stem of the plant. So good thatch layer, the best thing to do, just get at this with a spring rake, pull this out, and that will help improve your thatch layer. Also, mechanical core aeration will help poke holes in that thatch layer, really open up the lawn to get more oxygen down in the soil. So a spring dethatching is something I do every year. I did it on this lawn here, and as you can see, it's actually looking pretty good. I'll throw in some drone shots here, but this lawn looking really good. So that's a couple things that I see around here in the spring. A couple noticeable spring weeds that I'm noticing coming in here. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Here's your standard dandelion that everybody hates. I do see a couple of those coming in. Those will be blooming probably within the next couple weeks here. Keep in mind, we're still quite early in the year for my area. Normally I don't see the grass growing until about the first week of May. So we're about 3 weeks early weather-wise for my area, but we pretty much had little to no winter all year this year, so that's why the grass is so early, and it has been quite warm. Another thing, this off-colored grass here, known as Poa annua, or annual bluegrass, it's an invading weed. It's a golf course superintendent's worst nightmare. Again, not really a weed, it is a grass, however, it is discolored and it has an undesirable texture that is noticeable. It tends to invade greens, so Poa annua is something that I will be fighting in my lawn as well. Another thing that we noticed coming in the spring here, a little bit of white clover popping in around here. This is nothing out of the ordinary. I've fought white clover in my lawn, you know, for years. Just regular 2,4-D or dithiopyr will take care of white clover. Not really a huge deal. As well as dayflower. The only areas in my lawn I have dayflower is down here in the front. This is normally only a spring problem. You'll notice dayflower with the thin weeds and that blue flower. These ones you can see are already dying off. It's a spring annual. It comes up every year in the spring. As you can see, there's lots of dayflower in through here. Most of the time it just dies off by itself. To me, it's not really something that I'm too concerned about because of that fact that it just normally takes care of itself. But dayflower is something to be concerned about if that's something you guys are working towards having the least desirable, most consistent lawn possible. Dayflower is something that's going to stop that. So in talking about weeds, let's have a quick sit down and talk about pre-emergents, 2 different types of pre-emergents, and if pre-emergent is right for you this year. All right, so what is a pre-emergent? A pre-emergent is just as it sounds. It is a herbicide that you can put down on your lawn that stops the weeds from emerging. A pre-emergent herbicide. Post-emergent herbicides we all know about. There's selective and non-selective post-emergent herbicides. Roundup would be a non-selective post-emergent herbicide, something you'd put on anything that grows to kill it. 2,4-D dithiopyr, quinclorac would be a selective post-emergent herbicide you'd put down to control things like dandelions, crabgrass, and anything like that. Selective basically means that it kills some things but not the other things. So it kills the weeds, not the lawn. Non-selective kills anything. But a pre-emergent is put down before those weeds emerge. It's supposed to stop them from emerging. And pre-emergent that you can put down anywhere where you have access to it is there are chemical and natural pre-emergents. So a chemical pre-emergent would be Prodiamine. You can put that down on your lawn if you have access. This would be found in Scott's Weed and Feed. As well, you can also buy Prodiamine either in granular or liquid form. You're going to put that down. It's going to be a chemical barrier between the soil and the surface of the soil and the ground of the soil. So it's not going to take care of all your crabgrass, but it will help suppress crabgrass issues. Crabgrass, which I'm going to be making a video on later, is a weed that seeds can sit dormant in the soil for up to 5 years. So if you didn't have a crabgrass problem last year and you didn't have a crabgrass problem the year before, you have to think back 5 years. How many years did I have a crabgrass problem ago, and whether that is still a persistent problem that I might be fighting in my lawn. For example, I did not have a crabgrass problem at all last year, but I could still have those seeds from last year sitting dormant in my soil for up to 5 years. So that's something to think about with crabgrass and making a decision on whether you are or aren't going to put down a pre-emergent. Now in Canada, because we don't have access to these chemical pre-emergents, you can also buy natural pre-emergents, and the best example of this would be corn gluten meal pre-emergent. This is something that's normally found in a Scott's Weed and Feed product up here in Canada. You can find it in powder or in a granular form. How this basically works is it's put down on the soil. It needs to be dissolved into the soil, and it basically helps stop root production on new growth in plants in the spring. So your crabgrass will grow lots of shoots, but the corn gluten meal in the soil will help prevent those roots from growing. So those roots won't be able to grow, and then it relies on a great level of timing, so that hopefully that timing will come in and you'll get a nice hot spell right at the beginning of June when those shoots are up, but your crabgrass will have no roots, and then basically your crabgrass kills itself. So there's a lot of great things with corn gluten. It's a natural product, so it does come with some drawbacks. The first drawback is it does have a chemical breakdown. So if you are hoping to reduce your nitrogen into your lawn in the spring to hopefully help stop growing, corn meal or corn gluten has some nitrogen in it, and it's slow release over the next 4 months. So that is something that can cause problems if you're trying to reduce that application in the spring. You could encourage more growth than you want. Number two, it has to be put down at 15 to 20 pounds per 1,000 square feet, which is a quite heavy application. And for a lawn like mine, where you're looking at 20,000 square feet, that is a hefty price tag to put down to prevent crabgrass. Number three, it's all about timing. You have to make sure that you're getting your corn gluten down before those crabgrass seeds are about to germinate, but not before they begin to put down decent enough roots and shoots. So for those of you thinking about it, right now would be an amazing time to do that. But then also you need to make sure that you are watering in a reasonable amount of time as soon as that application goes down. This application needs to be watered in 24 to 48 hours after it's put down to receive the best success. And then the third aspect that comes in with that timing, as mentioned, you need to have that perfect dry spell for those rootless crabgrass shoots to take care of themselves. And if you have a very wet summer like we did last year and you don't have that dry spell, then your corn gluten application will not be successful. So those are kind of the upsides and drawbacks. The drawbacks to chemical pre-emergence is that over time your lawn can become the weeds can become less resistant to the use of them. So if you're overusing pre-emergence in your lawn, over time you'll notice that the crabgrass basically becomes like immune to the pre-emergence effects, which can cause problems in the future. So that is something to keep in mind when you're thinking about using pre-emergence. Whether or not those are as useful as you think they are is a completely different story, but something to keep in mind. And for my personal recommendation, I have used corn gluten in the past and I have found success with it. What I would recommend is if you do have a known serious crabgrass problem and you're located in the GTA, definitely get corn gluten, put it down right now, time it so you're gonna have at least 10 to 15 millimeter of rainfall the following day after you put down the application. You should be doing it as soon as you possibly can, sometime between the 1st and 2nd week of May. And then once you get that down, then you're going to hope for the best. And what you're going to do is I'll have some other post-emergent tips that don't involve herbicides that you can use to tackle your crabgrass problem later down the road. That will be coming in a video completely about crabgrass coming up soon. But that's something to keep in mind for those of you who are looking at dealing with a crabgrass problem this year. Cornmeal gluten is your product. For my folks in the States, if you used Prodiamine last year and you had a bad crabgrass problem, maybe this year is a good idea to use Prodiamine again. If you used Prodiamine last year and you don't have a bad crabgrass problem, maybe this year is the year that you take a break from it and just try to deal with some post-emergent herbicide applications to deal with the small areas of crabgrass that you do see popping up. I mean, dealing with crabgrass later is not a horrible solution. Dealing with it up front is not a horrible solution either. It all depends on your personal preference, what you think will be best for your specific application. As far as mowing goes, coming into the spring right now, I'm currently mowing my lawn at 3 inches. The reason why is it's still a little cold out here and I don't want to get a lot of frost burn to the tips if we do get a large frost, which I don't think I'm seeing happening, but it is definitely possible. Another reason why is there is a lot of garbage in the lawn, so I just kind of like to cut it a little bit lower, clean up that garbage. Another thing, people ask about aeration in the spring. If you want to aerate in the spring, it won't hurt. I'm going to be aerating within the next couple weeks. Reason is I didn't aerate last fall and I want to make sure that I'm relieving the compaction problems that I have in my current lawn as much as possible. So we're going to be aerating twice this year, and that's going to hopefully help with those problems as well as break that thatch layer and help open up my lawn a little bit more. Seeding in the spring is another big question I get. If you are going to be seeding in the spring and you live in the GTA or anywhere in the Southern Ontario region, you're going to be making sure that you're going to be putting down that seed before the 2nd week of May. Anytime after that, it's too late. Your seed will not make it through those hot weeks in July and August, and you will not make it through the summer. So those are some good things to think about when you're thinking about seeding in the spring, making sure that you're hitting that timeline and you're going to get that seed down before the season goes too far. As far as fertilizer goes, I did put down my first application of granular fertilizer. I always like to put down just a regular starter 16-16-16 fertilizer at the beginning of the year. Helps get my baseline. I know that all 3 of my macros are tackled. I put it down at 3 pounds per thousand. It helps wake the lawn up pretty quickly, and it allows me to get some good stripes going in the lawn. As far as that, I like to back off for the rest of the spring. As we know, the spring flush growing season is going to be coming very soon, and we want to try to concentrate as much of that growth in the spring into roots other than shoots, because the amount of carbohydrates the plants use to make shoots is less carbohydrates for roots, and the less roots you have means you can't make it through those hot, dry days in the summer. So concentrating on roots, the best way to do that is to put down phosphorus. For those of you who are using my liquid program, go ahead, start applying your liquid Grow Forge applications. I already put one in. I'm going to be doing my next one tomorrow. These are use your TNT starter as well as some organohume. This is going to help you get started for the spring. Get that liquid phos application in, get yourself moving with the micros in the soil, and hopefully get that lawn growing. As far as weed controls go, you have to make sure that you're putting weed control down on actively growing weeds. I would say it's a little bit too early yet to start going out there with some liquid post-emergent weed control, but it is something that you could do a little bit down the road, maybe in the next couple weeks, if you have a serious weed problem. But make sure that your temperatures are consistently above 15 degrees Celsius during the day, that you're ready to go, and that you're spraying actively growing weeds, because we are kind of doing this temperature roller coaster right now. First spring, second winter, third spring, fourth winter, whatever you want to call it, and we'll be coming more settled within the next couple weeks. Everything should kind of straighten itself out. So without further ado, I think that's it for this spring lawn tip video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with your friends and family. And without further ado, from the Great Green North, my name's Wade Murray. Thank you guys for watching. As always, any questions, comments, leave them down below in the comment section, or send me an email, greatgreennorthlawncare@gmail.com, or submit them to my website, greatgreennorthlawncare.ca, and we'll get them answered for you. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, keep it green.